France is sending Louane to Eurovision 2025 in Basel with Maman. It's all about being a mother, the relationship with a mother. It's mothering, but will she be mothering on the stage of the Saturday final? Let's review Eurovision. So France has got into a bit of a groove of sending some of their big acts. Last year was Slimane, one of the biggest acts on the French music scene, and they've gone with somebody of a similar caliber. Louane is very, very popular. She's been around for a few years, started off as an actress, has moved away into music now. She had this big showcase, the last song to be revealed this year, this big, big showcase at the final match of the Six Nations. It was quite something in the Stade de France. So there was a lot of expectation around this, and some people are saying it's a winner. Let's see what we think. Let's have a little listen. Maman, what do you think of Emily?
I do think it's probably the best ballad of this year. I think I just want to discuss the kind of the reveal for a second. It was such an odd but really clever way to do it, to kind of have that big mass reveal. And I imagine the kind of the Venn diagram of people who watch Eurovision and watch the Six Nations. I can't imagine it is that. I can't imagine there's a massive amount of overlap. I would say maybe I'm being, maybe I'm generalizing. But it was a very kind of interesting way to do it. And it definitely kind of obviously put the song onto people's radar. It's quite weird because I guess we've also been in like the kind of the pre-party phase at the moment. I actually don't feel like the hype that it's had in the kind of, having it at the Six Nations final and it now kind of being third in the bookies. I feel like we haven't actually heard that much about it from the pre-parties, which I think is interesting. But yeah, for me, I think, it's got a lovely kind of message. It's almost as if she's kind of like talking to her own mother. And I think Maman has, obviously it's in French. As we know, my language skills are not fantastic. But with a message like that, you still kind of have that cut across, which I think is really nice. I think she's got a gorgeous voice. It kind of builds in all the right places. It's for me, it's a really, really lovely ballad. And yeah, probably one of my favorites of the year, actually.
Interesting. I think we're going to have our first quite major disagreement of the
Oh,
panel this
here we
year.
go.
I am deeply, deeply disappointed with it, actually. I think it's in part, and the French again are hit and miss with staging. Sometimes they get it right with Voila, other times they get it completely wrong with that Foulaine, and the results reflect it. I have confidence that they will know how to stage this at the time of the final. But the problem is, this is such an intimate ballad. And before you get at me in the comments, like, oh, as a lot of you have already this year, oh, he doesn't understand it. I'm fluent in French. I know exactly what the hell she's singing about. All right. So just dismount that high horse. The problem is, it's a very, very intimate song. It's very personal. It's about having lost her own mother and the sort of the grief at not being able to show that she's now a mother with her mother because she's not here anymore. It's very, very emotional. So why the hell would you stick her on a plinth 20 meters up in the air, surrounded by 80,000 rugby fans? As you say, the Venn diagram, there's not very much in the middle. For something that intimate, I think it was completely out of place. It was good on them for calling in that favor. It was a masterful way to launch a song, but do that with a party song. Do it with an Ale Ole Ole or like a 2012 entry. Don't do it with a really, really personal ballad. So that it's kind of got off on the wrong foot with me because I think the way we were all first became aware of it, I think was just fundamentally wrong. But even then, if if this song were working, and I'm not saying it's like a Voila Barbara Pravi thing because they're very, very different songs, they're about different things. But if this were working, and if it were doing its job and were being as emotional as she wants it to be, and as the lyrics suggest it should be, I would be feeling something. And in Voila, I was captivated from the first note, the doom of the piano at the beginning. I am there, and the staging, which hopefully they will fix for this, it just you can't take your eyes off it. I never ever feel captivated by it. I never feel emotional about it. It's it. is really quite average actually for a ballad. And France has done, if there's a country that can do a ballad at Eurovision, it's France. And this, I think, is a real letdown. And Louane is capable of so much better. Her songs, she's already got another song called Maman, for God's sake. Like, pick a different word, lady. Like, it's just really, it's almost paint by numbers French ballad, and it's really disappointing. And she, based on her other songs, is capable of much better. France is capable of much better, and it's almost angering me that people are talking about this as winner potential because by no metric does this deserve to win. If Voila couldn't win, admittedly that was a very tough year, but if that couldn't win, this shouldn't. Last year's song I didn't like, but that deserved to win more than this. It's really disappointing. And I don't I want to like French entries, but this is 2 years in a row that they kind of have been a little bit subpar. And I fear they're getting into the rut in the same way that Sweden's getting into the rut of sending quite generic pop. France are now sending quite generic ballads, and it's increasingly looking like Voila was a bit of a one-off. So yeah, the whole thing just feels cold, and it doesn't work for me whatsoever, unfortunately. In any case, she doesn't have to qualify for the final. She's already there. We've no idea where she'll be performing in said final. But France normally gets plonked towards the end when they're drawing the second half. So she'll be hoping she gets to draw second half as well. What do you think this will do in the final? And what's your score out of 10?
I mean, as as I kind of said, I think now that we're hitting the kind of pre-party, like, the pre-event parties, and this isn't getting the hype that is reflected kind of in the bookies. To me, that kind of tells me that it's not going to do as well as we, as has been tipped. Um, so I think I still think it'll do pretty well because I think France, even with their entry last year, they staged it well, even though it kind of wasn't one of my personal favorites. And you have that big kind of like moment when he was kind of stepping so far back from the mic and his voice just carried. So I think providing that they can kind of replicate, something that kind of has that like goosebump moment with it. And, as a ballad, there should be something that they can kind of do something creative on that front. So I think yeah, I'm not sure. I think it could still easily be like top, well, I would assume it will be top 10. I don't know exactly whereabouts, but yeah. For me it's an 8. So quite like.
That's very high, almost too high, I think.
I said it was my favorite ballad of the year.
That is true, actually. That is true. I'm going to be significantly less optimistic than that. I think it is safe top 10 because the juries will love it. But people talking about this as a winner need to get a reality check. Like I've got more chance of winning it than this. It's the public are not going to vote for this in any way close to the numbers that they need to get this close to the win. I did think that last year as well, but he ended up doing very well with the televote. I just think there's unless she suddenly like farts out a gimmick like him standing 2 meters away from the mic, I just don't see there's a way of elevating this particularly to make it eye-catching. So I think it'll come top 10, top five on a good night. If it is top five, it'll be one of the weakest top five finishes for some time. I think I really, really don't rate it. And my score out of 10 is a 5. I think it's really basic. And if it were doing its job, which it should, with the subject matter this emotional and with lyrics that emotional, I would be feeling something. And I just feel it's like tumbleweed. I'm kind of like, okay, fine, what's the next one? Anyway, hopefully it's a bit better next year and stop picking ballads, France, please. I'm sick of them. Anyway, that's what we think. Do let us know what you think. Are you more like 8 out of 10 territory, 5 out of 10, somewhere in between, higher, lower? Let us know. Comments are open. And if you subscribe as well, hit the bell. You'll get notified every single time we do new videos, and our scores may be a little bit more varied than this one. Who knows? Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.